Hello and welcome to Newsbreak Chats. I'm Chai Hofilenia, editor of Newsbreak, the investigative section of Rappler. This will be the last episode of Newsbreak Chats Special Edition, dedicated primarily to the 2019 midterm elections. Babalik ang regular Newsbreak Chats sa May 30. For today, we will be talking about the opposition, Ocho Derecho, and look at what's in store for them on Monday, May 13. The COMELEC says there are a total of 63 senatorial candidates, but only 12 seats are available. Let's see how the opposition will fare. And with us, we will be talking today with Mara Cepeda and Lian Buan. Both of them have covered the opposition. Welcome to Newsbreak Chats,
Hello,
ladies.
Hello, Ma'am Chai.
Yun na ako, Imam. Tell us about who exactly you covered and then what were your observations siguro on the campaign trail.
So, hati kami ni Lian ng naging coverage sa Ocho Derecho. For me, it was really the slate as a whole. Si Lian, she focused on the lawyer candidates of Ocho Derecho. That's Attorney Shell Jokno and Florin Ilbay, Farmers Lister General. Basic observations on the campaign trail, well, they're never complete. Almost never, well, not never, but they're almost never complete. They were only seen together thrice. That's yung dalawang malaki, yung simula't dulo, proclamation rally, and yesterday's big pre-election gathering.
So parang bookends.
Yes, just the bookends. And their third visit to Cebu City, April 28th. And so for Lia naman, I guess she can tell you more about how these lawyer candidates are faring in terms of their campaign. Lalo na she's also following also yung ating mga labor candidates and the other progressives like Nery Colmenares.
So aside from the lawyers in Ocho Derecho, I also covered the other part of the opposition, the progressives, mainly Nery Colmenares of Makabayan, and yung pro-labor slate, yung labor win. Initial observation ko is, well, for one, the opposition as a whole wasn't able to form a united grand coalition of opposition. That's why may Ocho Derecho, may Makabayan, and then may labor win. But my observation is, mas naging united yung progressives more than yung mga Liberal Party allied.
Kasi, so that's one positive thing that happened from
as
this
Mara
campaign.
said, almost never naging complete ang Ocho Derecho. Labor win, marami silang differences in principles, but they were together as much as they could, and hindi visible, parang sa kampanya hindi naging visible na may mga difference of opinion to eh. And they're very free to say what their differences of opinions are, pero hindi siya visible, hindi ko ramdam na hindi pa rin kayo nagkakasundo. So, ganun yung positive.
Why was it so difficult for them to come together and present a united front, kumbaga? Kasi 8 na lang nga sila, di ba? Bakit hindi pa magkaisa in a way?
Meaning, bakit hindi sila nagiging kompleto? The defense of their campaign manager, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, is that, kumbaga parang guerrilla style yan. One observation talaga, and it's really an obvious fact with the party, is they don't have, gone are the days when the Liberal Party is the ruling party. Wala na silang makinarya, wala na silang pera, pero kung i-compare sa ating mga labor candidates, syempre may pera pa rin itong mga to kasi 7 out of 8 of them meron ng television ads, and that's millions yung inaabot doon. But they really reserved a lot of their funds for that ad na mailabas. Except for Mar and Bam, because marami talaga silang pera. So, I mean, even before the election.
Sige, because nabanggit mo si Mar and Bam, tatalon ako dyan.
Okay.
Why were they not together? I mean, ano ba yung issue nung dalawa? Because they're prominent figures, personalities, matagal nang nasa politika, and I guess people have expectations na sila yung magli-lead ng slate and sasama silang dalawa, but we didn't see that happening.
Siguro, when I said the guerrilla style earlier, they really meant to cover more ground, and they feel that kung hiwa-hiwalay yung mga kampanya tong mga kandidato, they will be able to convince more people. And then the agreement really was just maybe 1 to 2 days a week. That's when the slate staff organizes their sorties. The thing with Secretary Mar and Senator Bam is that they have matagal na to na they've run several elections already. And so when they did decide to run, meron na silang plano para sa sarili nila. Like for example, Senator Bam's staff said na talagang nakalatag na lahat ng mga pupuntahan yung mga probinsya even before the slate itself was able to like get itself organized. And I would ask the staff, halimbawa, can we have a calendar of your events for this month? Wala silang ganon. PDP laban, ang hukbong ng pagbabago, may ganon. Walang ganon yung 8 diretso, they decide per week. So kung ako yung campaign staff nung kandidato, parang hindi ko pa alam kung anong gagawin namin next week, pero I feel that my candidate would probably convince more voters if we say yes to this invitation.
Pero
Ganun ang
is
nangyayari.
that a strategy that worked? Na parang walo tayo, we have a lot of ground to cover, therefore maghiwa-hiwalay tayo.
Well, according to pre-election surveys, medyo hindi because si Mar Ross and Bam Aquino have always been the only 2 Ocho Derecho candidates who were in the winning circle. Tapos bumagsak pa si Mar dun sa latest Pulse Asia survey. So, kung yun yung pagbabasehan, parang hindi nag-work yung ganong strategy.
Going closer to their dynamics, in 2016, Rappler did report na there was a time that Senator Bam was not allowed at Balay, which is the longtime headquarters of the Liberal Party, which is in the compound that was developed by the Araneta clan, party si Secretary Mar. And supposedly it was because Senator Bam agreed in favor of the Senate Electoral Tribunal decision allowing Senator Grace Poe to run.
So babalik tayo sa 2016 dynamics.
And hindi naman, of course they denied it, I mean, aaminin ba yan nila, di ba? It's bad optics if they do, right? But actions really speak louder than words.
Correct.
There was this time in Bacolod City na nagpadala ng advisory ang staff ni Senator Bam, nagpadala ng advisory ang staff ni Secretary Mar. They're both in Bacolod, but hindi sila nakita at all. So local reporters, it was the natural thing for them to ask, bakit hindi po kayo magkasama? And they both laughed it off in different interviews. Now, hindi naman kami nag-aaway, hindi naman kami united, pero it makes you wonder, bakit di kayo nakita kahit di man lang kayo nag-lunch together, but their defense really is that it's a busy time, it's a busy schedule, it's a busy campaign trail, so we weren't able to see each other anymore.
How about sa labor sector? Kasi yan, dalawa, they come from prominent families, political families, and the issues go all the way back to 2016. So siguro, I don't know, mas mahirap i-bridge yun, no? But for labor, I can understand it would even be harder because may ideology already that's involved. But how were they able to go beyond these differences?
It started during the Mayo Uno rally last year pa. Yung sabi nga nilang tubigat lang is na KMU at TUCP biglang nagsama and then made a unified statement. So medyo maaga silang nag-decide that we will join forces. And ang nangyari talaga dyan is the Duterte factor. Paulit-ulit na sinasabi ni Calio de Guzman na umasa kami na si Presidente Duterte na yung talagang magwawakas ng endo, pero binigo niya kami. So, there's nothing left for us to do, all the labor sectors, even though warring factions kami dati, but to come together and push for the pro-labor agenda that we want. And one thing that amazes me about them is, kahit nasa iisang platform sila, they're still free to say yung different opinion nila, pero never silang naging hindi magkakasama. Parang ganun. Like for example, Nery Colmenares and Calyodi would tell you they don't like the security of tenure bill. Sabihin nila, pangit yan, it legalizes subcontracting. While the likes of Sonny Matula would tell you, okay na ako dyan sa security of tenure bill, pwede nilang sigurong i-fine-tune. And they will say that in the same stage, in the same press con. So parang, they were really able to transcend yung I mean hindi nila give up yung ideologies nila, pero sinabi nila na if we're gonna do this together, then we're really gonna do this together. And I guess that's what didn't happen so much for Ocho Derecho.
But that's, if you think about it, that's also democracy at work. Yeah. Parang differences of opinion, different ideologies, but the ability pa rin to be together, to be seen together in one stage. Among the candidates na na-cover ninyo, who were the ones that came across, yung very striking for you as candidates?
Well, off the
Who
top
struck
of,
you the most?
una si Shell Jokno, because before his senatorial campaign, well, kilala naman, I mean, meron naman na siya talagang media aware. Aware naman na yung media sa kanya because he headed Free Legal Assistance Group. Pero nung nagsimula yung kampanya niya, we talked about this in our podcast, magaling yung campaign team in capitalizing on what's working. Madali silang makiride. For example, siguro Shell Jokno was just very fortunate to have been put opposite Amy Marcos sa GMA News debate, and he was able to really clap back at Amy, and that trended.
Yeah.
And after nun, alam na talaga nung campaign team na, oh, this is what works. Somebody called him a woke lolo, and then they rode on that for the whole campaign. And kagabi, nung meeting de avance ng Makabayan, sabi niya, kung ako woke lolo, ang pinaka masahol na lolo ay yung lolong nagmumura, yung lolong gusto ng karahasan. So, the Jokno campaign was able to really parang spot na this is what's working for us, and therefore yun yung gagawin namin. So yun yung maganda, and it shows kasi siya yung after Rojas, siya na yung susunod na 8 diretso sa pre-election service, although nasa mababa pa rin.
Doon nagpapalit-palit sila ng orders in pre-election survey. So it's not maybe this round it's Shell, sometime then the next month it's Tanyada, next month is Gutok. And speaking of Gutok, for me she's another candidate from Ocho Derecho na yung lesser known na talagang nakaka-capture ng audience ngayong election na to.
Nakatulong ba sa kanya yung vest? Yung life vest na mali ang pagkasuot?
You know, I did write a story about that, about the political stunts of Ocho Derecho. Though, of course, they refuse to call it a political stunt. But, you know, I talked to a PR expert, and, you really have to call a spade a spade. Political stunts naman are not that bad. It helped in the sense that it got more articles about her published. But I think the reason why naging target siya ng nitpicking criticisms ng mga Duterte supporters is because she has really was able to come out as this feisty woman who's willing to say anything on stage and
quite articulate.
She's very articulate. She's very, very smart. I mean, she had a fellowship at Oxford, and she's really bright, you know, and it really manifests in the way that she speaks. Though of course, lumalabas din yung language barrier sometimes, in her campaign speeches, there's always an allusion to yung mga kandidato na may kaso na, tumatakbo pa, and people love her, are loving her for it. But siguro unlike Shell Jokno na organized yung pagka-brand sa kanya, the thing with Samira is her stuff is kinda too late in the game.
What do you mean? Why?
In the sense that it took them a while to realize na, you have to be able to send us advisories agad. And then, yung paglalabas ng statement, it's not strategic like Shell's, or like Mar, or like BAM, na parang ito yung issue, ito yung nasa news cycle, paano ko mapapasok yung kandidato ko sa news cycle na yan.
So what we're seeing is parang nagkanya-kanya ba sila, and then yung comms teams ng bawat kandidato, kanya-kanya rin, instead of someone directing everything and being walang one conductor.
Their conductor is Senator Kiko because he's the campaign manager.
Was he effective?
They have this. Well, if you're a campaign manager, then the best gauge if you're doing a good job is if your candidates are ranking high, diba?
Therefore, ang sagot ay no.
Yes. But you know, earlier you asked me one of the main observations about the party. One thing that I would credit to Senator Kiko is yung kanyang pagtap sa volunteers. Okay. And this is something that's unique to Ocho Derecho's campaign. They know from the get-go that they're not gonna get a lot of people to support them. They're not going to get a lot of politicians to raise their hands. Kahit donors matatakot. And so he had the foresight to, okay, let's just stop the volunteers. And nanggaling to sa parang pag-rebrand din ng Liberal Party. And last night, Lian and I were at their Thanksgiving concert.
Not meeting the Avance.
Yeah, they don't want to call it. They don't want to call it. They're meeting the Avance, even if it's their last pre-election gathering.
Yeah.
But you know, sobrang lakas ng ulan kagabi. Pero
was it a big crowd?
It was a big crowd. It was. And that crowd, syempre nung gabi, it was hard to see them anymore because they're all umbrellas. But to be fair to the volunteers, they really stayed until the last candidate spoke. Tapos umalis na sila agad. So they really went there and for the candidates. And it's not yung, syempre, ngayon ang bukang bibig ng Ocho Derecho, thank you volunteers are the heart of our campaign. And to be fair to them, it's not, this is just, hindi lang siya narrative, hindi lang siya messaging lang. Pero talagang, for me, I really see it as organic. When I went to Cebu, may namita ko na 3 months pregnant. Now she's 5 months pregnant. And she's really one of the active volunteers. And then I asked her, oh, why are you out here on the street, and organizing volunteers? Di lang siya basta-basta volunteer. She said, because I'm thinking about the future of my baby. And then the other day, I was just working at a cafe in Katipunan. And then yung katabi naming parang mag-ina, yung mommy lumapit and parang Ocho Derecho po, bigay siya ng flyer and she left. Volunteer din. And so, this is Ocho Derecho's response to the odds that have been thrown against them. And
How about in terms of the machinery on the ground? Kasi iba yung volunteers, no? In the end, pupunta dun sa vote count. Ilan yung mako-convince mong boboto, number 1. Tapos pangalawa, ilan ang mako-convince mong boboto para sa'yo. And you have to be able to marshal those votes, no? People who will vote for you. And sana, dapat, yung labor, organized yan. So kung nagganon sana sila,
it would have been,
it could have been
a
more
stronger
potent.
opposition. Yes,
diba?
yes.
Ganun, is that a fair assessment or parang fair expectation to say na ganun ka-organized ang labor vote, ang machinery ng labor sector?
Well, they don't have machinery, that's for sure. As in, sabi nga ni Alan Montaño, sabi niya parang how our campaign has worked so far is may supporter na pupunta sa kanila, pahingi ng TARP, tapos bibigyan lang sila ng high-res na file, tapos bahala na kayo. As in, ganun lang.
Okay.
They have no TV ad. Even Nery Colmenares has no single TV ad in this campaign. So wala talaga silang makinarya. But to what Nery did, which is what the left has always done, is magaling talaga silang mag-command ng media attention.
Okay.
Kasi every rally of the left, media covers. And then Nery, being the lawyer, and being one of the lawyers of NUPL, talagang na-cover siya ng matindi sa kampanya. Kasi left and right yung filing niya sa Korte Suprema. And some people may say, papansin mo lang yan because nangangampanya ka. But to be fair to Nery, even before he campaigned, he has always done this. The left has always done this. So hindi nila pwedeng i-criticize na ginagawa mo lang yan kasi kampanya. And fortunately for Nery, in the entire duration of the campaign, nanalo siya. For example, he went to the Supreme Court immediately after Chico River loan agreement was being finalized. At 1 week after the Supreme Court ordered the Duterte government to answer his petition, that's a win. Second, with NUPL, they went there for a writ of amparo. 1 week later, the SC issued a writ of amparo. So may ganong visibility, and Nery was able to really, to do what they've always been good at. And that's why I spoke to Teddy Casino the other day, he's Nery Colmenares' campaign manager. Sabi niya na parang even without a TV ad, even without funds, Nery is the third highest opposition, which is true kasi after BAM and then MAR, si Nery na. And he's been consistent.
Pero ganun-ganun sila ni Samira.
No, si Nery is consistently higher than all the
and
others.
And then other Ocho Derecho,
yung nagpapalit-palit.
Okay. If you think about planning, no, meron ba silang na-anticipate those, well, Kiko and the others who were actively planning the campaign? Were there things that they did not foresee na nangyari?
Things that did, well, for example, I think they did not foresee that people of Ocho Derecho will be included in the matrices of the government. Every time naman naglabas yung Malacanang ng matrix na yan, Ocho Derecho has always been saying na we don't know who Bicoy is, we don't have the money, we don't have money for our campaign ads. How can we even have the money for black propaganda on that scale?
So they're not behind the Bicoy videos?
According to them.
According to them.
Yes.
According to them.
They're not behind it. Siguro hindi rin nila na-anticipate na they were hoping din kasi that becoming anti-Duterte might inspire a lot of people. But as the surveys right now are showing, that doesn't seem to be the case.
Jumping on that, yung messaging nila, hindi talaga sila naging well-oiled messaging because I remember attending a town hall even before the campaign period started. A supporter asked, ano yung advice mo sa amin if we're gonna convince people to vote for you? Tapos sabi ni Bam Aquino, don't make it about Duterte. Make it about issues, ganyan-ganyan. And in the duration of the campaign, Bam stuck to that, but the other lesser-known candidates didn't. Kasi
They're very
anti-Duterte
anti-Duterte.
talaga.
Yes.
Duterte is practicing a policy of distraction. Yan yung mga linya ni Hilbay and Jokno also, Gutok also, Alejano, and Tanyada.
And
But
China was used also.
Yeah. And
by
then
Gary Alejano, no?
yung two more popular, Mar and Bam, weren't
But that's also
anti-Duterte.
because
So,
These two-
effective ang ganong campaign to be safe, cautious, and not to take a stand against Duterte?
It worked for Bam because he's the only ocho derecho there in the pre-election surveys.
But I did speak to people in the campaign team of Secretary Mar, and the reason why they're also acting differently than the other candidate is because they are, kumaga double-edged sword kasi yung kanilang track record or yung pagiging kilala nila. So, they're trying to, iba yung base nila. Obviously, yung base ng mga lesser-known candidates are really the opposition, really the people critical of the administration. Mar and Bam probably have people in their base who are not that against the administration. And maybe they're trying to convince them. I did took a closer look on the campaign of Secretary Mar Roxas. And I spoke to people in his campaign, and really he's trying to, and as the title of my in-depth goes, he's trying to defeat the ghosts of 2016. Natalo siya nun, he retreated to private life, pero yung false information about him online kept on spreading. He had to address that. And then there are still lingering issues about his supposed mismanagement of the Zamboanga crisis and the aftermath of the Super Typhoon Yolanda. And because he was not active in politics for the last 3 years, those fake news were left festering. They had to address that. And then there's also criticism for Secretary Mar that why aren't you taking that anti-Duterte stance of everybody else in your slate is taking on. And what his campaign staff told me is that, the thing with Mar is that unlike the other candidates, may history sila ni Duterte. They actually used to be friends. They used to work in Congress before.
Yeah.
And when Mar Roxas ran for vice president in 2010, then Mayor Duterte aggressively campaigned for him in Davao. Pero nasira yung friendship na yun kasi antindi nung labanan nila ng 2016. I mean, Mar Roxas was far second, but was still the second finisher.
But if you recall also in that campaign, it was medyo bruising then because at some point talagang tumira si Duterte,
Tumira
diba?
talaga siya.
And so parang if you look at that, di ba parang yung takeaway doon is if you really want to win and you want to paint yourself as the opposite, then talagang titirahin mo yung kalaban mo and present yourself as the alternative.
But
Pero in this case, walang alternative. Ang hina-hina ng opposition.
That's
Do
also
you agree?
Mahina siya because there's no united message. The fact is
Kasi natakot sila.
hindi naman siguro natakot, but there are a lot of ideological differences to different factions in the opposition. I mean, I was hoping for an opposition na merong kaliwa, di ba?
Yes.
Pero the opposition slate does not have that.
And up to the very end, parang nagbibicker pa ang mga supporter ng kaliwa at ng ocho derecho. So, it just tells you how fragmented the opposition really is. Kahit pa, they always say there's much at stake.
Yes.
Pero, hindi pa rin kayo nagkasundo-sundo, even by the tail end of the campaign. But, ask that question, sabi ni Nery Colmenares, even though the unity wasn't as formal as we hoped it could be, he thinks that there was a sufficient sufficient unity kasi may cross-endorsements
Naman kahit
among groups
papaano.
kahit
Okay.
papaano.
On the campaign trail, siguro yung isang advantage pa, no? In the case of the administration, very powerful figures, no less than the president, and then you had Sara for Hugpong, na talagang crowd drawers. On the part of the opposition, sino ba yung crowd drawers nila?
Just, wala eh. I mean, wala talaga.
Mar or Bam siguro by themselves.
Yeah, but it's just-
Pero wala.
Yun na nga. And I think maybe that's where the disappointment comes from people who are supporters of the slate, because they were hoping that the star factor of Mar and Bam would have helped the lesser-known candidates. And I think siguro the celebrities, unang-una wala silang pera pang hire ng celebrity or ng
Wala bang
banda.
volunteer celebrities?
There were volunteer celebrities for their concert.
For their
last
concert,
night.
the
Ebru
bands,
Denzel
yeah.
was there, was supposed to be there, Otto Telic. Pero pinulan kasi sila, so they had to cut the program short. So yun yung sayang. Parang kahit yung weather, hindi sila pinagbigyan. Kagabi.
Pero nakakatawa yung spin nila doon. Sabi
Oo.
ng host, it just means that nagbabago na yung panahon. So parang, okay, pagbibigyan mo na lang kasi kawawa talaga sila because I felt like it was supposed to be a very emotional moment for Ocho Derecho that despite the lack of resources, despite the lack of funds, there they are. And the OPM bands that they were able to get are really
Big
crowd
time.
drawers.
Oo.
Yes.
Tsaka maraming tao, nung di pa umuulan, as in,
So, na umulan, si Alisa.
Unti-unti.
Pero most of them stayed. Pero, you know, it would have been a great moment for them because there was really little to no big sorties for Ocho Derecho.
How about Chris?
Chris
Bakit
only
late
endorsed.
Late in the game
Well, maybe
pumasok?
we
Probably
should
she was
have her.
never in the game kasi parang
And she has endorsements, right? Aren't there endorsement contracts maybe that she had to, I don't know, but it was
Di ba
late
she-
in the game. They could have, capitalized on her.
kung papayag siya kasi there's still an ongoing bickering between
Her
Chris and Mar or di ba sa Instagram niya parang pinaparinggan niya pa rin si Mar and then he praises Bongo. So yung mga supporters ng Ocho Derecho, oh, why are you doing that?
So, from what you've seen, are you predicting a sweep by the administration, Lian?
Well, based on pre-election surveys, I think makakapasok naman isa o dalawa. And sabi nila, miracle kung tatlo. Yun yung narinig kong phrase kanina, milagro kung tatlo.
And I would make
What is your fearless forecast?
my fearless
Or
forecast.
fearful forecast?
No, I mean, yung kay Lian din, because the people in the slate are hoping 1 to 2. Or kung kaya 3. But, hindi imposible naman 12-0. It's possible. 12-0 puro administrasyon, di ba? And of course, you don't want that to happen because that would mean that Duterte is controlling
Everything.
Everything. Executive, legislative, judiciary. And it's really a scary thought. We're hoping na 1 to 2 to 3, parang masaya na nga tayo doon. And siguro yun yung nakakalungkot kasi parang bakit masaya na tayo sa bare minimum, di ba? But, we've been discussing all these complications, problems that the opposition candidates have been encountering. And you really have to be realistic about the composition of the Senate. And it's not gonna be independent.
I'm curious about the lawyers groups, no? Because I think one of the strong criticisms that have been thrown at the administration is the absence of the rule of law, abuses, EJKs. Hindi ba ito na-maximize? And you have lawyers there. Hindi ba dapat yun yung ginamit nila as a way of getting people to their side?
That's what I noticed with Ocho Derecho. They have, how many lawyers? 4 lawyers. Chel, Romy Mac, Tanyada, and Pilo. But dahil they wanted a messaging that's an 8-point agenda. So binigyan sila ng kanya-kanyang assignment.
So it was hard
So
for them to-
Jokno was the only one who was for justice, judicial reform. Romy Mac went senior citizens welfare and PWD's welfare. Pilo Hilbay biglang naging poverty alleviation. And then Erin Tanyada became farmers, incentives for farmers. And peasants. So, yun nga, sayang kasi apat silang magagaling na abogado. I mean, you have a former solicitor general, you have a veteran election lawyer. Sayang. Tapos, kanina, I came from the press conference of Attorney Cheljok, no? He was talking about so many things about judicial reform and he said, ang tagal-tagal ng problema nito, but I wonder why it hasn't been a national discussion thus far. Tapos sabi niya, it's because politicians don't want to talk about justice. Because when you talk about justice, you talk about accountability, and politicians don't want to be held accountable. When you talk about justice, people will be empowered, and politicians don't want an empowered electorate. So knowing that,
They want
sayang...
people to be dependent on
Yeah.
them.
So knowing that, sayang kasi maganda talaga. The rule of law and judicial reform should have been a more prominent part of the messaging of any slate.
Besides that, were there other wasted opportunities that they were not able to capitalize on, you think? Meron pa ba?
Feeling ko naman ginawa nila lahat ng makakaya nila every time a Duterte relation issue comes up. Sumasagot naman sila.
Yeah, to be fair to the candidates, for example, all of them are against extrajudicial killings, diba? So whenever they're asking the debate or they're asking an interview, magaganda yung mga sinasabi nila. It's just that because it's not their main platform and you have to stick to your messaging, hindi nga siya na-highlight masyado. Siguro, isa pang sana mas napag-usapan ng West Philippine Sea. It's such a big issue right now. But I would also comment Ocho Diretso kasi naidadala naman nila. But I feel like it's not enough.
Si Gary Alejano was the one who was strong
Very,
on
very
the West
consistent,
Philippine
even when he
Sea.
was a congressman. Because, I mean, look, he was the first and only person to file an impeachment complaint against Duterte.
Right.
And among the impeachable offenses there was Duterte's, lukewarm reaction to Chinese invasion in our territory. But yun na nga, siguro if everybody else in Ocho Diretso talagang laging bukang bibig ang West Philippine Sea, then maybe, more people would realize na there's a foreign country trying to step into our house. Why is the government not doing anything about it? Sayang. Pero to be fair to Gary Alejano, talagang consistent siya. As in, lahat ng statements siya related to China.
And to be fair also to other members of the opposition, Secretary Del Rosario and Ombudsman Morales did file communications against Xi Jinping. So that's a very big, as in laman siya ng news cycle. And Cheljok collaborated with the IBP under the leadership of Ade Fajardo. At nakakuha sila ng writ of kalikasan. So meron namang push. They did what they can.
Yeah, and they went to Masinloc, Zambales with their supporters and they raised the flag there. Of course, they do flag because Panelo called it as a mere political stunt, diba? Pero, I mean, it was the effort of the slate to really get the West Philippine Sea issued in the headlines, and they succeeded in that, diba? So it's still a win, but in the greater context of will you be able to fight for the country as a senator, then it's not a complete victory.
How about social media? Parang, did you see all the candidates very active on social media and using it as really a campaign tool?
Yes, because yun lang yung kaya nila eh.
Kasi,
Wala naman silang perang pang TV ad.
Yan din naman ang ginamit ni Duterte when he was running for
I mean,
president.
the different candidates have their different gimmicks. Meron silang mga sari-sariling mga video. Either, kunwari, may kausap silang supporter or yung kay Samira, yung ginagaya nila yung sa Vogue, yung parang 20 questions with Samira Butok, may ganun siya.
Yeah.
And then si Shell, maraming ginagawa yung kanyang anak na si Pepe, na isang director, diba? So, because they don't have money, they're really utilized on social media. But of course, we know that social media
Can only take you as far. And
it's
also,
far.
to point it out also, yung ginawa, the Duterte campaign has been linked to the Russian network of disinformation. And I don't think the opposition can even afford afford to do that. So, yung social media nila is only as far as what they can do in social media, which is to rally everybody to tweet for you.
Yeah.
Pero ilan lang bang may access on Twitter? Ilan lang bang may access on Facebook?
Nasa social media na
Boboto.
actual na boboto.
Yes.
Plus, there's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Maybe we see these posts because we have to follow them, right? We have
Yeah.
to monitor what they're saying. But, I do have friends na not necessarily sobrang pro-supporting Ocho Derecho, so they don't like the post as much. So they say, uy, wala ka nakikitang ganito, wala ka nakikitang ganyan. Maybe that's the problem. Kasi nga, it's a matter of machinery eh.
Okay, so where is this all headed? If the opposition is fortunate enough to have one or two or miraculously three, as you
Malay mo,
put
4.
it. Sige, libreng. Okay, so kung ganon yung numbers, where is this all headed for the country and for us?
I think we really have to start accepting ngayon pa lang that the Senate and the House of Representatives, I cover the House of Representatives.
Correct,
It's
right.
not going to be an independent legislature for sure. Because even if, let's say, manalo 1, 2, 3, 4, Ocho Derecho, they will be far outnumbered in the Senate and even overwhelmed in the House of Representatives na, look, the people vying for speakership now, hindi pa nga sila nananalo, naglalaban lang sila for speakership, are all allies of the president. Alan Peter Cayetano, Governor Del Rosario of Davao, Floyrendo of Davao also. So these are, and Lord Alan Velasco of Marinduque. So, common denominator nila lahat. You know for sure they will push for whatever Duterte wants, whatever bill he wants to pass.
So Duterte will be able to do what he wants.
Yes, and that's diba, parang, it's a very, very scary thought because that means there's no more democracy. And what's sad is not a lot of people are realizing it because it's not like martial law ni Marcos na bam, mayroong announcement ng martial law. What's happening now is
A creeping.
a creeping authoritarianism and the erosion of our freedoms slowly. And hindi mo na notice kasi biglang
Creeping pa ba?
at
we
this
there
point
already?
hindi na. We are. And after these elections, mahihirapan yung ating mga opposition leaders to fight because there will be fewer of them now.
Do you say the same thing of the judiciary? Because yun na nga, if you look at the three branches of government, so syempre you have a very, very strong executive, and then the Senate will be controlled, and the House for sure. So the legislature is also captured in a sense. Ang natitira na lang is the Supreme Court, the courts, and you've been covering the courts. Do you see the same pattern, the same trend?
Here's
na co-opted?
Here's a fact. Duterte has won everything in the Supreme Court except for some resolutions like yung compelling to release the war on drug documents. But that's not a win yet kasi hindi yun yung main petition eh. The petition is to declare the war on drugs unconstitutional. So it's a winning streak. Lahat ng pati yung martial law niya, even the wording of the ruling was very alarming. Parang sinabi doon na even if the reports that went to the presidents were inaccurate, we don't care because it's the presidential discretion at play and we have to respect that. So parang what Duterte says, then it's correct. Parang ganun. And by 2022, there would only be 2 non-Duterte appointees in the Supreme Court barring resignation or co-waranto. So kung magre-resign si Justice Caguioa and si Justice Leonen, then it would be a Duterte court through and through. All 15 would be Duterte by 2022. So that's where we're facing. And then sa isang question of where we're heading, this is the history. If BAM is the only one who wins from the opposition, it would be a return to the pre-martial law days. Tas medyo, kung naniniwala kayo sa
History.
pamahiin, ganun. In 1967, 2 years pa lang si Ferdinand Marcos, na-wipe out ang opposition. Only Ninoy from the opposition won a Senate seat.
Siya lang natira.
Siya lang natira. So
And
with
you have another Aquino now.
And with Ninoy being the only opposition in the Senate, nakapag-declare si Marcos ng martial law years later. And Duterte, 3 years fresh from the presidency, baka si BAM lang ang isang opposition. And there's already martial law in Mindanao.
We don't want history repeating itself in
we
this
don't.
case.
And I think that's the tragedy of the opposition now. Because they can see the scenario happening. That's why they're all running. That's why they're all fighting. But hindi nila maiwasan yung infighting the factions. And that's what makes it sad. Kasi we all want the same thing.
Yeah.
They all want the same thing. But it seems, politics is politics and they
But
can't
that's a sad
escape
thing
it.
because you see na nga what will happen. Tapos ayaw mo yon because you've seen it happen already in the past. But these still are not enough to force you to come together as one and fight the good fight,
But
diba, as opposition.
to be fair, you can also look at it from being, ito talaga yung mga prinsipyong never nilang i-give up. So, parang whatever happens, this is my principle. If I don't agree with you, then I don't agree with you. Compare that to the administration na yes man, yes man, yes man, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. So, you can also look at it from that point of view.
Okay, it's been a lively discussion. Please don't forget that Monday is election day. Magbubukas ang polls 6 a.m. and magsasara at 6 p.m. You have to go out and vote. Don't just be on social media. Go to the polls because a lot is at stake. Sabi nga ni Mara, we're seeing creeping authoritarianism. You have 3 branches of government that will be controlled by the Duterte administration, and we don't want a repeat of martial law being declared again. So go out and vote. Thank you very much for watching Newsbreak Chats.